Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today with my SEC football predictions for the 2023 college football season. Before I continue, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate if you do that. Really trying to grow the channel. The SEC this year, it should be fun. I think every team in the SEC West can make a bowl game. In the East, I think you're gonna get some surprises in the East this year. In the SEC East, it should be a pretty fun league to watch. So let's get right into it. We'll kick it off with the SEC East standings, and then we'll go to the West, and then I'll go through the who I have winning the SEC this year. First place in the SEC East is going to be the Georgia Bulldogs, going 12-0, 8-0 in the SEC play. Um, you can tell me they lose Stetson Bennett, they bring in Carson Beck. I don't care. The talent around there at Georgia, it's just elite as it gets. Kirby Smart recruiting, top three recruiting classes, elite recruiting classes. Georgia's going to win through the schedule. I know I've seen some people pick Georgia to lose a game either on the road against Auburn or on the road against Tennessee. It's not going to happen, guys. Georgia's going 12-0. They should be double-digit favorites against everybody on the schedule. To be completely honest with you, I think Georgia runs through the schedule and gets to the SEC championship game at 12-0. Second place in the SEC East, a team I am high on this year, the Kentucky Wildcats. I have Kentucky going 9-3, 5-3 in the SEC. They bring back 10 starters on offense. The only starter they don't bring back is quarterback, but they bring in Devin Leary, um, quarterback transfer there from NC State. Defensively, Kentucky only brings back 5 starters. I'm not too concerned about that. Kentucky always seems to play tough on defense. I have Kentucky being everybody in the non-conference, including the road game against Louisville at the end of the season. The 3 games I have Kentucky losing in the SEC is Georgia, Mississippi State, and South Carolina. And you might have realized if you know the Kentucky schedule, I've missed a game there. One of the bold predictions I have in the SEC this year is that Kentucky and Mark Stoops finally gets a signature win at home, and it's going to be against Alabama, and that's the signature win I have for one of the big time wins I have this year in the SEC. I think Mark Stoops finally gets a signature win and will be against Alabama here in Week 11 on November 11th here in 2023. So, but I think Kentucky, I'm pretty high on them. They're in my top 25. Go check out the college football preseason top 25 video if you haven't already. I believe I have Kentucky either 16th or 18th. I forget where I have them at, which is kind of embarrassing. I don't memorize my college football poll, but I do think that Kentucky, I'm pretty high on them. I do think they will compete for a New Year's Six bowl this year. Third place in the SEC East, I have Tennessee. I have them going 8-4, 4-4 in the SEC. Tennessee, I think they'll run through the non-conference. Virginia and Nashville, Austin P. They'll go ahead. They'll beat UConn at home. Sneaky game in Week 4. If you're looking for a sneaky non-conference game, UTSA, which is in a lot of top 25s, including mine. I have UTSA ranked number 19 in the country. I have Tennessee ranked 23 or 24th. They come into Knoxville. I do think Tennessee wins that game, but I think it will be a shootout. So I think they'll go 4-0 in non-conference play. 4-4 in conference play though. The 4 games I have Tennessee losing is on the road against Florida, on the road against Alabama, on the road against Kentucky, and at home against Georgia. Um, in my opinion, 3 of those teams are better than Tennessee. The one game is on the road against Florida. When's the last time Tennessee has gone to Knoxville and beat the Gators? Not gone to Knoxville, going to Gainesville and beat the Gators. I just have a feeling Florida's going to pull off a mild upset there. You look at Tennessee. Offensively, they're going to be great. I'm not completely sold on Joe Milton, but they are going to be pretty good. Tennessee, offensively, defensively, yes, they do bring back 7 starters. I can't name a player on that defense for Tennessee. So that tells you all you need to know about Tennessee's defense, in my opinion. Hopefully, I can name some guys. throughout the season. Hopefully, I'm wrong about this because I like when Tennessee is good personally. But overall, Tennessee 8-4, 4-4 in the conference. Fourth place in the SEC East is going to be South Carolina, also going 8-4, 4-4 in the conference. The tiebreaker goes to Tennessee because of the head-to-head. South Carolina always seems to overachieve under Shane Beamer. Yes, they only bring back 10 starters. They do bring back Spencer Rattler, however, at quarterback. And I mean, the non-conference schedule is a bit tricky this year. I mean, yeah, you have two give me's against Foreman and Jacksonville State. Even though Jacksonville State's not terrible, they do first year in FBS play. I think South Carolina. I think they win the week 1 game, neutral site game in Charlotte against North Carolina. I know they're a slight dog. I think and College Game Day is going to be there, but I think South Carolina wins that game. And I think they beat Clemson for the second year in a row at home. Yes, I do think South Carolina should be about a touchdown dog, about a 7-point dog in that one. I just have a feeling South Carolina is going to win that game again. So I have the South Carolina going 4-0 in the non-conference. However, in the conference, 4-4, the losses will be Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, and Texas A&M. Those will be the 4 losses. To be honest, I do think that Georgia is better than you. Obviously, on the other 3 games though, on the road. Texas A&M is probably on the same level as South Carolina. Tennessee, same level. There's gonna be revenge on that game for Tennessee. Missouri, it always seems like South Carolina that series is weird between South Carolina and Missouri. Always, to me personally, it always seems like the worst team wins that series. So that's and I think Missouri. So that's why I went with Missouri. But I think South Carolina. Um, they're going to overachieve again. That's what they do under Shane Beamer. Dark horse to make a New Year's Six bowl. So keep an eye out for South Carolina. Fifth place in the SEC East. This is a team, in my opinion, that I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking. It's one of my bold predictions in the SEC this year. Vanderbilt makes a bowl game. They go 6-6, 3-5 in the SEC. 3-1 in the non-conference. They do lose that road game against Wake Forest in the non-conference. 3-5 in SEC play. That includes wins against Missouri, Florida, and Auburn. I think those are the 3 wins there. They bring back 15 starters. I really like what Clark Lee is doing there at Vanderbilt. He I think gets the program, and I'm not saying he's going to do as great as James Franklin did at Vanderbilt, but in a 5-year span, can he make bowl games 3 out of 5 years? I think he can. Even with Texas and Oklahoma coming into the conference, I think he can, and I really like what's going on with Vanderbilt. I think that they make a bowl game 6-6, 3-5, and 3-5 in SEC play. Sixth place in the SEC East is going to be Missouri, 5-7, 2-6 in SEC play. You look at Missouri. Yes, they bring back 15 starters. It always seems like Missouri's like kind of hard to read always for me. Like it seems like the SEC play kind of gets to them some. In the non-conference, they will go 3-1. Kind of a sneaky non-conference schedule. South Dakota, Middle Tennessee, Kansas State, and Memphis. That Memphis game is in the old home of the St. Louis Rams, the Edwards Jones Dome there in St. Louis. But I think they go 3-1 there. I think Kansas State beats them in the non-conference. Kansas State beat Missouri last year 40-12. I think Kansas State beats Missouri again. The 2 games that Missouri wins in the SEC, in my opinion, is going to be South Carolina and Florida. They always, I mean, Eli Drinkridge, he recruits well. I think he's good for PR. I don't think he's really that good of a coach for SEC play. They remember Missouri kind of hired him after the 1 year he had at App State going like 12-1 or 13-1. Eli Drinkridge kind of took over a program that Scott Satterfield, the Cincinnati coach, built. Um, I'm not gonna say Eli Drinkwitz gets fired, even though he probably should after the season, the way I'm projecting it. But um, Missouri, they always seem kind of tough to read. So I'm going 5-7, 2-6 in the SEC. I think they just miss a bowl game there. Now last place in the SEC East, and this is one of my other more bold predictions. Florida goes 4-8, 2-6 in the SEC. I think Billy Napier gets canned at the end of the year. Um, Listen, Billy Napier is not his fault necessarily, but he can't be going 4-8 at Florida. The quarterback position, Graham Mertz, is going to be a disaster in my opinion. They don't really have NFL ready players there at Florida right now. And not none of this is really so much Billy Napier's fault. It's really Dan Mullen's fault. A hire that I was high on at the time, but looking back at it, he kind of brought Florida down some. And you could say Jim McElwain did the same thing. You could say Will Muschamp did the same thing, even though I would argue that Will Muschamp did fine at Florida, recruiting wise. You look at Florida 4-8, 2-6 in the SEC. They will lose against Utah on the road. Utah will have revenge on their minds after what happened last year. That's a Thursday game to open up the season. Utah will win that game, and then Florida State at home to finish out the year. The Gators will lose that game as well. The two games in the SEC that I have Florida winning is Tennessee and Arkansas. Those are the two games there. Um, you go ahead, you look at Florida. I think this season's going to be a disaster for Florida. I really do. I'm not high on them at all. I think that they go ahead and finish in last place in the SEC East, going 4-8, 2-6 in the SEC. I think they're going to be looking for a new head coach. Now to the SEC West. First place in the SEC West is going to be Alabama, 11-1, 7-1 in the SEC. It seems like people are doubting Alabama. They're doubting Nick Saban. Don't ever doubt Nick Saban. They bring in the quarterback transfer from Tyler Buchner from Notre Dame. I'm not very high on him, but I think he will work out there for the Alabama Crimson Tide. They only bring back 10 starters, yes, but at the same time, Nick Saban recruits at a elite level. The talent will be fine. The one game I have them losing is on the road against Kentucky. As I stated earlier, I think Stoops finally gets his big signature win there in Kentucky. It'll be against Alabama. But I've seen people predict Alabama to go as low as 9-3. I just don't see it. I mean, I do think they lose a game somewhere on the schedule. I mean, people are saying they're going to lose the Texas game. They're not going to lose the Texas game. Just get out of here with that. The Texas A&M game, people say they're going to lose that game. They're not going to lose that game. Get out of here with that as well. I think it's going to come down to the Kentucky game. Another game to kind of keep your eye on is maybe the Ole Miss game in Week 4. I think that's a potential game that Alabama could lose. Honestly, the LSU game, obviously. But I have Alabama going 11-1, 7-1 in the SEC, and coming out of the SEC West to face Georgia in the SEC championship game. Second place is going to be LSU, 10-2, 6-2 in the SEC. LSU will beat everybody in the non-conference, including the Florida State game in Week 1. The two games they will lose in the SEC is going to be on the road against Alabama and on the road Week 5 against Ole Miss. I'm kind of high on Ole Miss this year. You'll see that in a second. 15 stars return for LSU. Brian Kelly, year 2. He exceeded expectations in year 1. Everybody's expectations. He will do great things again this year. So LSU, I think Jane Daniels comes back. LSU is going to be pretty good. They will compete for the college football playoffs, in my opinion. And a lot of people are picking, well, not a lot of people, but I have seen people pick LSU to make the college football playoffs. And I don't blame them. I mean, you look at LSU, they have a good shot. They really do. So we'll get 10-2, 6-2 in the SEC. Third place in the SEC West is going to be Ole Miss, 9-3, 5-3 in the SEC. I think Ole Miss is going to be pretty good this year. I think they'll have a crack at 10 wins. I think they'll have a crack to make a New Year's Six bowl. They bring back 16 starters total. They're going to be a pretty good team, Ole Miss. 8-5 last year. I think they improved. You go ahead, you look at the schedule. They beat everybody in the non-conference, including a win on the road against Tulane, a Tulane team that's most likely going to be starting the year in the AP top 25. They also get Georgia Tech out in the non-conference as well. They'll win that game. Three losses in the SEC will be to Alabama, Georgia, and I think Mississippi State gets them at the end of the year in an upset game there in the Egg Bowl. So 9-3, 5-3 in SEC play. I think it's going to be a pretty good year for Ole Miss. Go ahead now. Um, Fourth place in the SEC East is going to be Arkansas. Arkansas, low key, has kind of an easy schedule, in my opinion. I think they beat everybody in the non-conference, including a game at home against a BYU team that I am high on this year. Arkansas went ahead into BYU and beat them pretty convincingly last year. I think a similar game happens in Arkansas. The four losses in the SEC is going to be LSU, Ole Miss, Alabama, and Florida. Uh, Listen, Arkansas is probably better than Florida. Uh, it's one of those games. You lose a game every year that you're not supposed to lose. That's going to be the game for Arkansas. I'm very high on the Arkansas offense with KJ Jefferson and Raheem Sanders. I think they're going to do a lot of great things there. Uh, Basically, running the ball. I think this offense could be deadly. I know they only bring back 4 stars on offense. I don't care. Uh, KJ Jefferson, Raheem Sanders, they're both special in my opinion, and I think they will cause havoc. Defensively, 6 stars come back, and I know Arkansas lost both of their coordinators. Uh, you had Kendall Brawls go to TCU. You had Barry Odom go ahead and take the UNLV job, head coaching job. But I think Arkansas is going to be fine. I believe in Sam Pittman. Um, should be a solid season for them. As I said, they get 8-4, 4-4 in the conference. I think, to be honest, it's kind of an easy schedule how it's laid out, especially November. Next, in fifth place in the SEC East, in the SEC West, it's going to be Texas A&M. I'm going 6-6, 3-5 in the SEC. They go ahead. They will. I have them losing on the road against Miami in the non-conference. Yes, they do bring back 20 starters out, 22, 10 on each side. I get that. I still think they're a year away. Texas A&M. The 3 games I have A&M going ahead and winning. It is Auburn, South Carolina, and Mississippi State in the SEC. Those are the 3 games I have the Aggies winning. Um, as I said, Bobby Petrino, I actually do think the hire will work out, but I think it's going to take a year. So I think 2024 is going to be the year for the Aggies, but they're a year away, 6-6, 3-5 in the SEC. 2 more teams. Sixth place in the SEC West is going to be Mississippi State. Mississippi State is a team that it's kind of a tough situation there for the Bulldogs. Their head coach Mike Leach, he passed away. He had a massive heart attack and didn't make it through. There, which is sad. They went ahead and hired the defensive coordinator Zach Arnett, which I think could be a bit of growing pains year one, but I do think he will do well at Mississippi State. Um, you go ahead, you look at the team. They bring back 8 on offense, 4 on defense. Defensively, they have improved with Zach Arnett there since he's been there, so I think that will continue. But they are kind of going with a new offensive philosophy there since Mike Leach is gone. Um, 6-6, 2-6 in SEC play. I think they go ahead and beat everybody in the non-conference, including Arizona and Southern Miss at home. 2 teams that I do think could be kind of dark horses, sneaky teams this year in their respective conferences. 2 wins in the SEC. Those 2 wins will be what I have here: Kentucky and Ole Miss. So Kentucky and Ole Miss, 2 teams that I think are better than Mississippi State, but at the same time they're at home. Kentucky always seems to struggle in Starkville, and then rivalry game the final week of the season there against Ole Miss. I think Mississippi State pulls off the upset there at home in Starkville. So go ahead and I have Mississippi State making a bowl game 6-6, 2-6, and SEC play. And then last place, and I couldn't wait to talk about this team. I thought about making a video just about this team alone. Auburn 5-7, 1-7 in SEC play. I do have Auburn winning every game in their non-conference, including a road trip against Cal. Kind of a interesting road trip there. Cal's definitely a team that I think could beat them, that could beat Auburn, but at the end of the day, I think the talent's just better with Auburn, so I'm going to go ahead and take Auburn in that game. Yes, Auburn brings back 17 starters. They bring in a new head coach in Hugh Freeze. And by the way, 1-7 in the SEC. The one win I have for Auburn in the SEC is Mississippi State. They're at home in late October to get that out of the way. I am not high on the Hugh Freeze hire at all. As a matter of fact, I don't think it's going to work out. Say what you want about Hugh Freeze. He cheated in the SEC. To be honest, that's why he was successful in the SEC, because he cheated with Ole Miss. So he got fired after all that. He came back, coached for Lipri for a few years. Listen, you can say he did well at Lipri, a Group of 5 school. Lipri has better resources than some Power 5 schools. I mean, anybody could do well at Lipri. I mean, Jamie Chadwell, the Coastal Carolina coach, everybody thought. Uh, some people had him taking the Auburn job, Jamie Chadwell. He went ahead and took the Lipri job from Coastal Carolina. Everybody was like, oh, he went to another Group of 5 school. Yeah, that Group of 5 school, Lipri, is going to be a lot better than a bunch of Group of 5 schools because of the resources they have. Auburn is a middle of the road team when it comes to resources, in my opinion, in the SEC. Are they better than Ole Miss resource wise? Yes, but not by much, in my opinion. You look at Auburn. I think they're going to struggle. I really do. I'm not high on them at all. I don't think the hire is going to work out. And I'll also say this: I know they bring in Payne Thorne from Michigan State. He is not going to change life there at Auburn. Trust me when saying that. I'm a Maryland Terps fan. I've seen Payne Thorne play 3 seasons as quarterback at Michigan State. He did not change. I mean, that you could tell me that 11-2 season they had, that was all Kenneth Walker there. He will not change life there at Auburn. He's a decent quarterback at best. I mean, Bo Nix is 100 times better than Payne Thorne. I'll pay it to you like that. Um, I'm not high on Auburn at all. I think they missed out on a bowl game. I think they go 1-7 in the SEC, and that's why I think of Auburn this year. The one win will be at home against a Mississippi State team that's going to struggle to get to 6 wins. But let's get into the SEC championship game. I have as Georgia versus Alabama, and I forgot to change the lettering there from Big Ten, from Big Ten champs to SEC champs. But I do have Georgia winning the SEC. Um, Georgia, I mean Alabama, and they are going to be a great team. Alabama. I'm going to take Carson back over Tyler Buckner, though, and that's why I'm picking Georgia to win this game. I think both teams, talent-wise, is about even. I just like the quarterback play for Georgia a little bit more, and that's why I'm going to take Georgia. And Georgia goes 13-0. Alabama goes 11-2. We'll see if 11-2 is going to be good enough to make the college football playoffs. You know how everybody slavers over Alabama, which I don't blame them for, but at the same time, it is kind of annoying. But I have Georgia winning the SEC. So comment down below. Tell me what you think. I always like hearing from you all. Thanks for watching. McD the Beast signing off.